For centuries, we have partitioned reality into two incompatible domains. Physics is the study of matter, governed by cold mechanical laws. Magic and esotericism are seen as a separate world of symbols, angels, and ancient rituals, structures that modern science dismisses as purely imaginary. Primordial resonance spectral theory, or PRST, suggests this division is an illusion. It treats the quantum vacuum not as an empty theater, but as a rigid primordial lattice of standing waves defined by prime numbers. This lattice is defined by three constraints: the 10 degrees of freedom in the space-time metric, the 13 Archimedean solids that cage a standing wave, and the 180-degree interior angle needed to close a pentameric cycle. When you lock these values together, 10 times 13 times 108, the result is the absolute capacity of the vacuum, 14,040. But as researchers mapped the 14,040 state space, they found something unexpected. The specific numerical constraints required by the physics of the vacuum are identical to the architecture of the world's oldest esoteric traditions. The implication is that ancient systems were not practicing random mythology. They were using symbolic wrappers to describe the same multidimensional prime resonance lattice that modern physics is only now rediscovering. If we factorize 14,040 into its primes, we get 2 cubed times 3 cubed times 5 times 13. By adding 1 to each of those exponents and multiplying them, we find that 14,040 has exactly 64 divisors. That result can be expressed in binary as 2 to the 6th power. This means the internal state space of the vacuum is structurally isomorphic to a 6-dimensional Boolean hypercube. This aligns perfectly with the ancient Chinese I Ching, which is built on 64 hexagrams of 6 binary lines. In the PRST framework, when a hexagram line moves, it corresponds to shifting the prime factorization within the 14,040 lattice. This same boundary appears in our biology. Human DNA uses exactly 64 triplets of nucleotides to encode the instructions for life. From the I Ching to our own genetic code, we are seeing the same mathematical boundary condition that dictates the quantization of the vacuum. But the 14,040 lattice needs a spatial orientation to remain stable. It requires a specific harmonic twist to keep a standing wave from dissipating into noise. That twist is the number 108. It represents the hypervolume generated by the first 3 integers raised to their own power. 1 to the first times 2 squared times 3 cubed is the geometric expansion required to reach discrete space. In Eastern traditions, 108 is the supreme architectonic constant. It's reflected in the 108 beads of the Hindu and Buddhist mala used for counting mantras, and the 108 energy channels that converge at the heart. The spiritual obsession with this number is a recognition of the mathematical bridge between prime numbers and the organic, fractal growth of reality. For the lattice to generate physical reality, it must move. This motion is driven by the 7 active prime channels within the sieve. These 7 channels cycle through a 13-phase gear. When these prime channels spin through those 13 phases, they create exactly 91 discrete state permutations. This solves a 400-year-old mystery in Western occultism. The Enochian system, recorded by Dr. John Dee, utilized exactly 91 governors to describe the world. The 13-phase gear also mirrors the 13 cycles of the Mayan calendar, while dividing the 14,040 lattice by the 72 Kabbalistic names of the divine reveals the gematria for love and breath. These occult entities and names function as symbolic wrappers for the state vectors of the PRST engine, the mathematical instructions that drive the lattice. The 14,040 modulus brings everything together: Vedic space at 108, the 30 Enochian ethers, and the 13-phase Mayan gear. This model suggests the vacuum isn't a chaotic foam of random probability. It's a highly ordered, rigid crystalline plenum tuned to exact geometric constraints. These constants aren't random accidents. They form a literal linguistic syntax, a structural language where atoms are the nouns and resonant forces are the verbs. By finding the same math in physics and ancient magic, we find a universe that is fundamentally a resonant mind. We aren't just observing a machine, we are learning the syntax that generates form itself. We are the architects of resonance.